It welcome back to another video. So on today's video we will be doing a geography. The topic is the economic geography of South Africa. So in order for you to be able to answer true or false questions, name one word or match, you have to know key concepts. So make sure that all the key concepts that are going to appear on the screen, you familiarize yourselves with them, you understand them, so that when those type of questions come up, you are fine. And without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. So we have four main sectors in the country. The economy of South Africa has four main sectors, namely primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, and the quaternary sector. So these are the four main sectors in the South African economy. For the primary sectors, that's where we have fishing, mining, forestry, oil extractions, stone quarrying. Like in this sector, we're literally just taking things from nature as they are. So you will find out there's gold, like in Northwest and Velcom, and still in other parts of Joburg and Mpumalanga and so forth. So those extractions of mineral resources, like getting coal from the mines, gold, going to the sea, and catching fish, is a primary economic sector, because the fish has not been done anything to, the gold has not been done anything to. We're just going there to get natural resources from nature itself. So the sea has plenty of fish and we go and get fish from it. So it's a primary sector. We have not done anything. We're taking something that is already there in nature and taking it before we can decide to manufacture it. The fish can also be turned into canned fish. A certain type of fish can be turned into canned fish. Others can be made into fish fillets. Before we get there, we're just extracting them. Even gold, before it is turned into items that can be sold like jewelry, us just extracting it from nature, it's a primary economic sector or activity. The secondary economic sector is where now these products that we got from nature, like fish, like gold, like oil, are now being manufactured into final products that can be sold. So like, let's say you extract crude oil from nature, you burn it, manufacture it into petrol, and then you get, oh, you have gotten gold in the primary sector, and now in the secondary sector you are now burning this gold, turning it into finished products like rings, bracelets, gold watch, earrings, etc. And that is the secondary sector. And now for fish is now where it has been cooked. Sometimes it's been turned into fillets, and in other instances it's tin fish, this one that we buy, that is already seasoned, and you just put in your pot. There's already gravy in it. So that is done in the secondary sector. And even cars, we have extracted raw materials from nature, and now we're turning them into cars that we will be able to drive. So in this industry, as it has been named up there, it includes metalworking, smelting, automobile production, textile production, chemical and engineering industries. They are the ones that work in the secondary economy. And then we have the tertiary economic activities. In the tertiary economic activities, now what was extracted and manufactured into a finished product is now being sold as well. So we are now selling what was born, what was firstly extracted from nature. In the tertiary economic activity, we have finished product. And also in the sector, you can find, this is where you have stores like a ShopRite, Pick and Pays. They're in the tertiary economic activity, in the tertiary sector. So tertiary economic activities involve provision, distribution of services to the business and the consumer. So we also have transportation in tertiary. We also have telecommunications, hospitality, public health services, tourism services, mass media like radios and television, healthcare services, and waste disposal. So those ones are now in the tertiary economic sector, or they're part of the tertiary economic activities. And then we have quaternary economic activities. Though the quaternary economic activities are activities that provide a high level of service through information and expert knowledge. So these people are very knowledgeable people and have a skill in certain things. So quaternary economic activities include ICT, consultancy, and research. So this will include your IT people who are very specialized and have a specialized knowledge with computers and all those things that we like to use. Now let's look at the statistics of contribution of primary, secondary, and tertiary sector to the gross domestic product, which is GDP in South Africa. Now, contribution to South Africa's GDP per province, we have Gauteng, which is GP leading with 34%. So it contributes most to GDP. This was the 2019. So yeah, the Gauteng province GP, it's leading with 34%, and Free State, it's at the lowest. It contributes lowest to GDP. Northwest 6%, Limpopo 7%, Mpumalanga 8%, the Eastern Cape also 8%, the Western Cape 14%, and KwaZulu Natal 16%. So that's how much each province contributes to what's GDP in South Africa. That's gross domestic product. Yes, and then the decline in the sector in 2019. The primary sector declined or decreased by 11.4%, the agricultural sector by 13.2%, and the mining sector by 10.8%. The GDP Gauteng contributes the highest to GDP of South Africa, and Free State the lowest. There was a general decline in primary sector in the GDP of South Africa in 2019. So contribution of the secondary sector in 2019, there was a decrease in the secondary sector by 7.4%, into manufacturing 8.8%, in electricity 6.9%, and in construction 2.2%. So there was a general decline in the secondary sector in the GDP of South Africa. Remember, in 2019, it was the year before the COVID-19 hit the country. So tertiary sector increased by 3%, trade increased by 3.9%, transport by 0.3%, finance by 4.1%, government by 3.4%, personal service 0.8%. So there was a general increase in the tertiary sector in the GDP of South Africa with exception of a transport. So transport increased a little bit. So contribution to the South African economy by value between 2019 and 2020, the distribution of each sector of the economy is measured in percentages. So here, the personal service in 2020 contributed 6%, construction 4%, electricity 3%, agriculture 1%, finance 20%, government 17%, trade 17%, manufacturing 13%, transport and communications 11%, and mining 8%. So that is how much each sector contributed in 2020. And then the relationship between GDP and unemployment rate between 2010 and 2020. In 2010, a lot of people were working. We have 14 billion employed people. And then towards 2015, it kept declining like that. 1 million jobs were lost between 2010 and 2015 to 12.9 million employed in 2015. And then it went up, slightly up. 646,000 jobs were gained and 13.6 million people were employed in 2020. That's how you interpret such graphs. So we have activities where you can test yourself about the structure of the economy is activity 5.1. And this one is about the tertiary activity. Figure 1.2 showing the percentage of Gauteng's activity in the tertiary sector in the economy. So the tertiary activity in South Africa, Gauteng dominates in most of these activities. So you can be asked to define the term tertiary activities. Which tertiary activities in Gauteng contributes the most to South Africa's economy? Give a reason for the economic activity that contributes the highest percentage, the tertiary sector. So you can do those activities. Pause the video, try to do them, and I will show you the response. Not the response, sorry, answers. We'll show you answers at the end of this video. So let's talk about the primary economic sector. Agriculture in South Africa contributes around 5% of formal employment, relatively low compared to other parts, and the number is still decreasing. It provides work for casual laborers and contributes around 2.6% of GDP for the nation due to aridity of land, and only 13.5% can be used for crop production, and only 3% is considered high potential land. Also, let's talk about beef producing regions in South Africa. It's Northwest, Free State, Eastern Cape, Limpopo, and KwaZulu-Natal. Those are the beef producing regions in the country. South Africa needs to ensure a healthy agricultural industry that contributes to the country's gross domestic product, food security, social welfare, job creation, and ecotourism, while adding value to raw materials. But the health of the agricultural sector depends on the sustainability of farming methods. So farming practices must therefore not only protect the long-term productivity of land, but also ensure profitable yields and the well-being of farmers and farm workers. So this is a table showing grazing capacity in South Africa. So the Eastern Cape province has a ample space for grazing, followed by Limpopo. In fact, no, Northern Cape has the highest with 91.49%, 98, and then it's followed by Limpopo with 84, and then comes Eastern Cape, and then Western Cape with 81%. And then after that, we have Northwest with 75. And then after it's Mpumalanga. After Mpumalanga, we have it's Northwest, Free State, Mpumalanga, then KwaZulu-Natal, and then we have Gauteng. So Gauteng does not have a lot of grazing land where sheep and goats and cows can go and feed. There are no fields in Joburg. Most of the land is used for development. Houses have been built and so forth. Factors that favor beef production in South Africa: vast and extensive grazing land. So you just have to have a big land where the cows are able to feed, and there have to be a favorable climate. It doesn't have to be very, very cold it doesn't have to be very, very hot. The climate has to be perfect for the survival of the cows. So there has to be food there, and then there has to be introduction to communal farming for the utilization of the same land for both crops and livestock, and provision of subsidies for purchasing of breed stock and dosing product. So the government also has to subsidize farmers, and there has to be availability of veterinary service for farmers through government initiatives, so that when something is wrong with their livestock, they're able to call a veterinary service. Factors that hinder beef production in South Africa. So factors that prevent beef production in South Africa: lack of camp system to protect livestock, where there is no perfect place where livestock can be placed so that it can grow there. There's no space for it, and there's no drought prevalence due to limited rainfall. So when there's drought also, it's very hard to grow beef. Increased feed cost in terms of droughts, it's very expensive to feed them. Poor veterinary intervention, cattle cannot be vaccinated, it's a problem. Insufficient breeding stock for beef cattle, and high cost of fuel and transportation. Also lack of equipment, especially among small scale farmers, and diseases that leads to death of cattle across the country, and increase in stock theft, and insufficient or declining grazing land due to human settlement expansions. So when more people are building houses and development is taking place, there is less space for cows to feed. Poor or no access to credit or expansions. So contribution of beef products to the South African economy: increased in the market price of beef, especially for export purposes. So increase in the market price of beef, high beef consumption within the country across major market segments. So beef is consumed a lot in this country. Sustained increase in rent value of beef products on a year-to-year basis. A higher return value on investment, more profit from less cost of production. So the beef industry is doing very well. So South African beef export volumes over 5 years period. So fresh chilled beef is the light gray, the frozen one is shaded in dark, and then that line is just a total beef. So in 2012, more fresh chilled beef was exported, was sold outside, and in 2013 there was a decline in both fresh and frozen. In 2014 they both went up again. 2015 they went high. 2016 frozen decreased while fresh went higher. So this is South African beef export. And then we having this map here, map integration of beef production in Mpolweni region, KwaZulu-Natal, and then triple A beef farm. There's beef transportation to market. There's grazing land on the farm, drinking pens and reservoirs, and then we have farm burns. So this is an activity again. Refer to the text below of South Africa's beef industry. There you have it. You can pause the video, go through this, and complete the activity. Here are questions. So let's talk about the sugar cane. Sugarcane farming belt Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal have highest sugarcane farming belts. So factors that favor sugarcane production in South Africa: we have generally high summer rainfall along the eastern coastal areas of South Africa, Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga. So they are favorable for sugar canes to grow there. The low strength of the rand against the dollar. The low strength of the rand against the dollar is also a factor that favors sugarcane production in South Africa. Coastal, low-lying areas, especially in the low fields. A tropical or subtropical climate along the eastern coast with a plentiful supply of water supply throughout the year. Lack of severe forest along the Eastern Cape region. Sugarcane is harvested by hand and mechanically, and there is abundance of cheap labor in the area it is grown. And fertile soil contributes to the uh, favorable production of sugar canes. Map of sugarcane industry showing meal supply areas and agriclimate. Factors that hinder sugarcane production in South Africa is poor replanting rates, and wheat contributes to reduced yields. So when there's a lot of wheat growing alongside sugar canes, it's a problem. They can kill them. And low levels of education add to poor crop husbandry practice among small-scale farmers. Higher cost of inputs such as fertilizer and chemicals, adjustment of the minimum wage which forces some farmers to leave the industry, the rising input cost of sugarcane growing in KwaZulu-Natal, the price of sugar that tends to increase below the consumer price index, and lack of capital injection from financial institutions like loan and extreme climate events such as drought. So sugar mills produce wastewater emission and solid waste. And the contribution of sugarcane products in South Africa's economy. So the South African sugar industry is one of the world's leading cost competitive producers of high quality sugar, makes an important contribution to employment, particularly in rural areas, to sustainable development and to the national economy. So 40% of sugarcane produced is exported to markets in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. So you see, 40% of sugarcane produced is exported to markets in Africa, so it's doing very well. The price of sugarcane is quoted in US dollars and positively influence profit, high revenue, and sugarcane prices are competitive. So the sugarcane is of great agricultural and economic importance to the South African economy and a major contributor to GDP and grows in high rainfall areas annually. And this is the map, rivers and dams, water. This is a topographical map that shows factors that favor sugarcane production in Umzimkhulu region in KwaZulu-Natal. Sugarcane contribution to the economy, revenue and employment. The South African sugar industry makes an important contribution to the national economy, given its agriculture and industry investment, foreign exchange earnings, its high employment, and its leakage with major suppliers. As we have said, it contributes 40% based on revenue generated through sugar sales in SACU region as well as world market export. The South African sugar industry generated annual estimated average direct income of 14 billion. This contributes 51 billion in value of sugarcane production in South Africa. And then employment, the sugar industry provides direct employment in cane production and processing and indirect employment in numerous support industries in two provinces where sugarcane is grown and processed, namely KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. Direct employment is estimated at 350,000 rand. So this is a activity for you to read over. Do pause the video, do this activity, and all the answers will be shown at the end of this video. Now let's move on to maize. Right, maize triangle, part of the northwest Free State and Mpumalanga. So those are the countries. They make a triangle that produce maize. Factors that favor maize production in South Africa: temperatures are not too hot or too cold. We need moderate temperatures throughout the year that allows for the grow variety of crops. Warm Mozambique currently along the east coast, therefore areas receive no frost and rainfall of up to 100 millimeters per year or more. Most permanent rivers flow in the eastern part of the country. Many storage dams are built on along these river channels. Relief availability of flat land in areas within the maize triangle. That's why availability of cheap labor, use of high technology, and research in agricultural production. So factors that hinder maize production in South Africa: South Africa is a relatively dry country with 3/4 of the country receiving annual rainfall below 500 millimeters. Infertile soil due to soil erosion is infertile soil due to soil erosion in large part of the country, which is dominant by steep slopes. Lack of subsidy for most farmers, leading to cheaper imports from other countries with subsidies for their farmers. Prevalence of pest insects, for example, worms and locusts. So they have to take care of all those things that can hinder the growth of maize. So contribution of maize product to the South African economy, it has a large market because it is a staple food for many South Africans. Many South Africans have maize pap used in the production of food products such as beer, cheese spreads, instant coffee, and many other products, and provides employment for rural communities and seasonal workers. Also consumes products from other industries such as fertilizer, irrigation equipment, herbicides and fuel, and also farm implements. Each variable foreign exchange through exports to outside market. So the maize production in the maize triangle in Lichtenburg, Northwest. So let us encourage to use this RDISE principle. Principle equals to relief, drainage, infrastructure, settlement, and economy to analyze a map. So don't forget this, guys. Maize. Now we have activity with regards to maize. You can pause the video and do this. Now we will do the mining sector, which is the last one for this video. Balance of trade. You must know those key concepts. It is important to talk about the economy of South Africa without mentioning. It is impossible to talk about the economy of South Africa without mentioning the allocation of the mining industry, because South Africa is known for its mining sector and several mineral contribution to its sector. In 2017, mining contributed 8% of the gross domestic product. So this map shows mining locations in South Africa. Types of mining: open cast mining and shaft mining. So in a surface mining techniques that extract mineral from an open pit in the ground, so they can open just a pit and do an open cast mining, or go underground, a shaft mining. Contribution of mining to the South African economy. Discovery of diamonds started the mining industry. Mining is contributing to the GDP because mining companies pay taxes to South Africa. So tax from mine stimulates the economic growth and development of South Africa, contributing to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Mining funded the development of infrastructure in South Africa. Mining contributes to job creation in South Africa. Multiplier effect leads to development of other industries. Cities have developed in South Africa because of mining. More investors have invested in South Africa as a result of export of raw materials and minerals. Hence, foreign income from export of minerals contribute to the socio-economic development of the country. And then share of mining GDP quarter 3 for 2017. Sector contribution to mining minerals export in South Africa. So here, how much each mineral contributed. Here we have PGM 26, gold, chrome, manganese, diamond, coal, iron. Here we have everything. And then significance of mining to the development of South Africa. Is discovery of minerals contributes to the mining industry. Minerals established in Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa. So minerals contribute to rapid urbanization in South Africa. The impact of mining on the environment. Removal of vegetation increases soil erosion. Natural habitats and ecosystems are disrupted by mines. The environment is degraded, polluted, and chemicals in water pollute water resources and underground water. Cause air pollution that can cause acid rain, cause sink holes in some areas. So this is activity for mining, and we're gonna end here. On the next video we will do coal. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, firstly, let's look at answers to this activities. This is the possible answers for activity 5. Just pause the video and write them down. Oh, we are not here yet. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one.